Coming up on the Q30 Newscast, confused about the government shutdown? We'll explain what's happening in Washington and how it may be affecting you.
Plus, the story about why Quinnipiac students were marching around the North Haven campus last weekend, and we'll tell you what popular online network is failing. The news starts now.
Good afternoon, Quinnipiac, and welcome to the Q30 Newscast. I'm Kristen Campeta.
And I'm Marcus Harun.
The U.S. government is still shut down, now marking over a week since the political stalemate began. At a press conference Tuesday, President Barack Obama said he would allow Republicans to set the agenda for budget negotiations, but Congress must agree to a short-term spending plan first. If Congress fails to a short-term spending plan by October 17th, the U.S. could face its first ever default, causing another recession. Q30 News sent out some reporters to get student reactions regarding their feelings toward the government shutdown.
Do you know anything that's going on with the government shutdown?
A little, but not much.
They can't agree on the bill, so they basically are shutting it down and being really immature about it, so... honestly... This is embarrassing. No, not to you.
No, I just know that you can't. It's not like you can do whatever you want like people think it is. It's just the federal government it's just not really working.
I just know that all government funding like the Smithsonian, all the government institutions the people are out of work. They're not run, national parks aren't being run.
Has it affected you in any way? Do you think it could affect you?
I don't know how it could possibly, maybe tuition rates. I'm not really entirely sure.
No, it doesn't really affect me. It only affects federal employees and Social Security. It won't affect anyone here really. No students, maybe their parents, but other than that, no.
Personally, it hasn't. But let's say if I wanted to go to maybe a state park or something like that, it may be shut, or traveling, you may have less airports.
Not everyone may have a full understanding of what exactly the government shutdown is. Q30's Taylor Popielarz sat down with Journalism Graduate Program Director Richard Hanley to find out more about the ongoing battle in Washington.
Now, you're a professor, so communicating with students is something you're very familiar with. And we have a lot of students watching, and some may not know, all the details about this shutdown. They may not know what it necessarily is. So how would you explain this shutdown to a group of students?
The government needs money to fund its operations. That money must be appropriated by Congress. Congress has yet to appropriate that money. Thus, the government is shut down because it can't pay the people to run its operations.
There's been a lot of coverage by all forms of national media, and they've been doing everything from interviewing opposing members of Congress to, holding press conferences with the high-profile members of office, and they're pinning the Republicans and Democrats against each other. Some calling this a game. The media is really emphasizing this, that one side is winning, one side is losing. How do you view the behavior of the media thus far?
The media, particularly in Washington, is addicted to covering politics as if it's a sport, that's a complete disservice to the American public because it's not a sport. Issues are often more complicated than who's winning and who's losing. There's ideological impulses in play. There are different strains of liberalism and conservatism in play, and things are often more complicated than it appears. But what mainstream media tend to do in Washington to make it simpler for themselves and for the audience, particularly in television, is to create a sport out of it. This side's winning, this side's losing.
How do you think President Obama is handling this?
The president is, trying to be the leader. He's saying we can't change, not only of the United States, but he's also leader of his party, and he has to maintain fidelity to his party's wishes, in the House and in the Senate. And I think from that perspective, he's done okay. He said he's not going to approve or support any defunding of the Affordable Health Care Act. On the other hand, I don't think he's used all the tools at his disposal to combat this. One of those tools is the bully pulpit, as Roosevelt would have called it, of the presidency, to bypass Congress and go directly to the American people. There are also certain pieces of law that he could deploy to make selective financial cuts to certain areas of the budget that may be more damaging to the Republicans, and he hasn't used that tool yet. And I suspect that there are people within the White House who've advised him to use it, but he's decided not to go nuclear, so to speak, in a political way, because he sees himself as a leader of all Americans, not just the Democratic Party. So he's in a very, very difficult position, awkward at the least.
And one last question, just to target our viewers here for this show. As a professor and as a person who is pretty knowledgeable about politics, do you urge your students and students in general to study up on this showdown? And if so, why?
Students should be fully informed about all activities in politics because it impacts their lives today and tomorrow. Not only their lives here on campus in terms of student loans, work study, etc., funding for research, but also in terms of their future job prospects. If the economy grinds to a halt because of this, students graduating in May are going to find the job market to be that much more difficult to pierce. So the students should be fully informed, and more than that, regardless of their political affiliation, they should be engaged. College Republicans, college Democrats, they should be taking part in the debate at a fully informed perspective, reading about it, talking about it, arguing about it. You'd like to see the Democrats and Republicans here on campus kind of get engaged and talk about it in a very respectful way, the kind of debate that educated students have long been engaged in. We'd love to see more of that here. Our students are clearly smart enough to do that, and we'd just like to see them more involved because it affects their lives. This is not an abstract political argument for these students. This is their life, and this is their country, and they need to participate in its debates.
On the third day of the government shutdown, the Capitol was faced with another issue. Last Thursday afternoon, 34-year-old Stamford resident Miriam Carey attempted to ram a security barrier outside the White House, injuring 2 police officers and causing the Capitol to be put on lockdown. Carey fled the scene after her attempt, leading to a high-speed police chase. Carey was shot and killed at the scene by Capitol Police. Her 18-month-old daughter was also in the car but was unharmed by the incident. Carey's motives remain unknown, and Capitol Police Chief Kim Dine says it appears to be an isolated incident and not an act of terrorism.
Quinnipiac University hosted its annual Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation Walk to Cure Diabetes on Sunday at the North Haven campus. This walk fundraises each year for type 1 diabetes research. It also raises awareness for the millions of people living with type 1 diabetes. Individuals could join a team and walk, support a walker, or sponsor a pre-walk booth. The walk raised over $100,000. The JDRF Walk to Cure Diabetes has raised over $1 billion to date. Students at Quinnipiac who participated in the event explained how the walk affected them.
It's been great because a lot of our friends have come out to support us. We raised like $2,500.
It's been incredible. Like, my blood sugars went low and everyone ran to get juice for me. So it's just incredible how everyone's just so supportive and everything.
Personally, I don't know anyone with juvenile diabetes, but any research type-based thing is amazing. It really helps people. I'm excited that the kids are going to have some sort of research that's going to be done to help them out.
It's been a quiet hurricane season so far. We'll let you know if that could be changing.
Q30 News' Sarah Schreiner will have that and your campus weather forecast when we return.
Stay right there. We'll be right back.
I could really go for a Ray and Mike sub right now.
Come to Ray and Mike's and try our Philly chicken with cheese for just over $4, giant cheesesteak subs, and mouth-watering boar's head sandwiches for as low as $4.75. Q-Cash accepted just a mile down the road on Whitney, here at Ray and Mike's.
Quinnipiac students are not happy with the increase in food prices on both the York Hill and Mount Carmel campuses. Many are running low on their meal plans earlier than they have in previous semesters. Our very own Elijah Westbrook tells us more on this continuous increase.
As the Quinnipiac cafeteria prices get higher, student meal plans get lower. In the past year, prices have gone up by 4%.
Well, it's a little hard to stay on budget with the price increase, so
I know a lot of students are like freaking out.
Q30 News sat down with Associate Director of Dining Services, Leanne Spalding, as she talked about how the meal plan isn't meant to last a whole semester.
You can have a full meal, but it will not. The $11.50 will not cover the entire semester.
We told students about Spalding's response, and many were not pleased.
Yeah, it's definitely disappointing, especially because then I have to go out and buy groceries, and that's I feel a lot more expensive, and it's not as convenient.
While freshmen and sophomores are affected by the price increases here at the CAF, York Hill and Hill residents are more affected because of a reduced meal plan.
Because I live at York Hill, my food plan's like cut in half, so I really don't have much money to begin with.
Due to a kitchen in their suite, their meal plans start at $850 as opposed to $1150 that other students have. Over the past few semesters, increases in food prices resulted in a high level of displeasure among students. Many students wonder if the high food prices will ever go down. I'm Elijah Westbrook, Q30 News.
Well, they say the print journalism industry is dying, but now a popular online newspaper is closing too. Last week, Patch announced many of their local news websites would be shutting down due to low traffic. Patch CEO Bud Rosenthal said in a memo, quote, "We have believed strongly in the value of connected local communities. However, this commitment has not translated into success every time we serve." In every town we serve, Patch has many local websites around the country, including Hamden and North Haven. The sites that have a small following will close, and those resources will be used to strengthen the quality of the remaining sites.
We are now going to throw it over to Sarah, who will tell us what kind of weather we should expect this week.
Out west, we have a low pressure system that's bringing some storminess and some rain. In the Midwest, we have some nicer temperatures in the 50s. You can see some clear skies and sunny weather. And we look to the East Coast. Right now it's clear, but when we look at the radar, we see this low pressure system here. It'll be working its way up towards Connecticut in the next few days. So when we look at the Connecticut weather, it's clear now, mainly 60s all over, a little bit warmer in the north parts. And when we look at the 7-day forecast, we see that we have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, still low 60s, and we'll see that rain coming in on Friday from that low pressure system. On Saturday, it'll clear up. And Sunday, it's still clear. And then Monday and Tuesday, we'll have some nice weather, and Wednesday, some more rain.
Thanks, Sarah. The U.S. military captured.
Tonight's forecast is a low of 49, cloudy, with northeast winds at 9 miles an hour. And then tomorrow we'll have a high of 66 with some PM showers from that incoming low pressure system and some northeast winds at 11 miles an hour.
Well, thanks, Sarah. The U.S. military captured an alleged al-Qaeda leader while protests in Cairo erupted once again.
World News reporter Caitlin Mayo will have all the details and more when Q30 Newscast returns.
I could really go for a Ray and Mike sub right now.
Come to Ray and Mike's and try our Philly chicken with cheese for just over $4, giant cheesesteak subs, and mouth-watering boar's head sandwiches for as low as $4.75. Q-Cash accepted just a mile down the road on Whitney, here at Ray and Mike's.
Hi, I'm Caitlin Mayo with your World News. U.S. officials confirmed suspected al-Shabaab leader Ikrimah is not in custody. Navy SEALs were forced to withdraw from a Somalia compound when it was clear he could not be captured alive. But on Saturday, U.S. forces did capture suspected al-Qaeda operative Abu Anas al-Libi in Libya's capital in a separate raid. Al-Libi was wanted for the bombings of 2 U.S. embassies in Africa in 1998. He is currently being held in a location outside of Libya, where U.S. intelligence agencies are interrogating him on his involvement with al-Qaeda. Al-Libi's next stop is yet to be decided, but State Department Deputy Spokeswoman Marie Harf confirmed al-Libi will not be detained in Guantanamo Bay. 51 people are dead and more than 260 suffer injuries after violence erupted in Cairo between protesters and security forces. The violence started when Muslim Brotherhood protesters marched in different neighborhoods in Cairo and across the country. People swam across the Nile River to escape arrest, while military officials used tear gas to break up the protest. Forces also beat up many protesters with batons. The Muslim Brotherhood's Freedom and Justice Party say the attacks were crimes of violence and murder against peaceful protesters. And the Olympic flame is on his 123-day journey. On Saturday, the Olympic torch for the 2014 Winter Olympic Games in Sochi was passed from Greece to Russia at a lighting ceremony in Athens. The flame will travel to over 3,000 cities across Russia to expand the Olympic celebration throughout the entire country. In addition to traveling by airplanes and trains, the 14,000 torchbearers will travel through Russia by means of Russian troikas, dog sleds, deer prawn sleighs, snowmobiles, and air balloons. The torchbearers will end their journey in Sochi on February 7th. That's it for your world news. I'm Kate LeMayo. Now back to you guys.
Thanks, Caitlin. People who work from home often needed face-to-face interactions in order to share ideas. Something as prevalent as social media doesn't always reach households and businesses. A local organization hosts a weekly social media tutorial in New Haven, and Q30 News reporter Elijah Westbrook has more on the story.
This is the Grove, New Haven, located on 760 Chapel Street, just steps from the New Haven State train station. The Grove starts every Tuesday morning with a serving of banana pancakes and a cup of coffee. Glenn McDermott and Julia Googe both host an event every Tuesday morning at 9 called Social Media Sync. It's a give-and-take session to share ideas on using social media for businesses.
The Grove wanted to do on a frequent basis as a way of giving back and just as a collaborative platform.
Eileen Moyer has been coming to the workshop the last 3 years. She wishes social media had been prevalent 12 years ago during the attacks of the World Trade Center.
I have a friend, unfortunately, that was killed in the World Trade Center, and I often wonder what it would be like had Twitter and Facebook existed at that time.
Because social media is constantly changing, the need to always stay updated is important because a lot of businesses use it. The workshop stresses that many companies want to often provide convenience for their consumers through the use of this technology.
Social media is becoming a more key ingredient, whether you're a brand or a big company.
Social Media Sync is providing the local New Haven community with ways in which they can become more familiar with this area of technology, not only at home, but in the office. Glenn says social media users shouldn't get too comfortable and that it's still evolving.
If you look at it on a timeline, I think the word social will just go away. It's just about media.
Maybe so, but Glenn and Julia say the marketing aspect of social media won't go away anytime soon. I'm Elijah Westbrook, Q30 News.
Now Liv and Shayna will tell us all we need to know in entertainment this week.
Thanks, Kristen. Another Kardashian marriage is on the rocks. On Tuesday, Kris and Bruce Jenner officially announced their separation after 22 years of marriage. They have 2 children together, 17-year-old Kendall and 16-year-old Kylie. As Kardashian fans know, Bruce moved into his own Malibu house back in June, and the arrangement seemed to work for them. But sources say their separation was a long time coming. In a joint statement, Kris and Bruce told E! News, quote, "Even though we are separated, we will always remain best friends, and as always, our family will remain our #1 priority."
And Miley Cyrus is having a busy week. She appeared on SNL, The Today Show, Late Night with Jimmy Fallon, and she released an album. Her latest album, Bangers, dropped yesterday and is already #1 on iTunes top albums list. Much of her album's content is influenced by her public 4-year relationship with actor Liam Hemsworth, even thanking her now ex-fiancé in the album's dedication page for his inspiration. Miley and Liam ended their 2-year engagement last month. In her MTV documentary, Miley the Movement, Miley describes Bangers as, quote, "bigger than just a record. It represents taking over the world."
Halle Berry gave birth to a baby boy on Saturday in LA at Cedars-Sinai Hospital. Halle's baby boy, Masio, is her second child, but first with her new husband, Olivier Martinez. Halle is also mother to a daughter, 5-year-old Nala, with her ex-husband, Gabriel Aubry. Halle announced her surprise second pregnancy shortly after she appeared on The Wendy Williams Show, saying Nala wanted to be a big sister. Halle's baby bump did not slow her down. During her pregnancy, she fought to pass a child anti-paparazzi bill and will soon be starring in Steven Spielberg's new CBS drama Extant, scheduled to air in summer 2014.
And now coming up in sports news, Alex Rodriguez may be suspended from baseball, but that isn't stopping him from taking action.
And sports anchor Micah Bailey will fill us in on how the QU men's hockey team did during their exhibition game.
Stay tuned to the Q30 Newscast.
I could really go for a Ray and Mike sub right now.
come to Ray and Mike's and try our Philly chicken with cheese for just over $4, giant cheesesteak subs, and mouth-watering boar's head sandwiches for as low as $4.75. Q-Cash accepted just a mile down the road on Whitney, here at Ray and Mike's.
Alex Rodriguez filed a lawsuit Thursday night against Major League Baseball and Commissioner Bud Selig, stating that MLB plans to destroy his reputation and career based on improper use of evidence. A-Rod's lawsuit is a response to the accusations of taking performance-enhancing steroids, resulting in a 211-game suspension. This suspension could cost A-Rod as much as $30 million in bonuses for reaching several milestones, including the all-time home run record. A-Rod says he looks forward for the day to come when he can tell his story.
And now into QU sports. Mike is going to tell us how the QU Bobcats did this week.
Good evening, Bobcats. I'm Micah Bailey with your sports. The Quinnipiac men's hockey team defeated St. Mary's on Sunday in its first game of the year. The Bobcats took care of business in the exhibition game. The final score was 7-2. Jordan Samuels-Thomas and Connor Jones each scored twice to lead the Bobcats to victory. Quinnipiac fired 39 shots on goal, twice as many as the Huskies. Quinnipiac is currently ranked 10th in the USCHO.com poll. The regular season begins Friday versus Alaska Anchorage in Alaska. The puck drop is at 12 a.m. Eastern Time. The QU field hockey squad defeated rival Yale 3-2 on Sunday in the annual Play for the Cure game, which raises money for the National Foundation for Cancer Research. Quinnipiac sported a variety of pink warm-up shirts, pink shoelaces, and pink game uniforms. Quinnipiac's Field Hockey Parents Association also sold raffle tickets for their chance auction, in which all proceeds are donated to the foundation. The Bobcats are playing Brown today in Providence, and will play Sacred Heart at home on Sunday. And in soccer news, the men's team battled Iona to a 0-0 tie, but Quinnipiac did have more than twice as many shots on goal. Junior goalkeeper Borja Angoita picked up his fourth shutout in the last 5 games, earning his spot as Quinnipiac's Male Athlete of the Month. They traveled to Niagara on Saturday. Meanwhile, women's soccer lost a close one to Iona in overtime. Sophomore goalie Natalia Grodzki kept Iona off the scoreboard for all of regulation until a game-winning free kick goal gave Iona the victory. Grodzki earned herself the title of Female Athlete of the Month for her play throughout September. The women's soccer team hosts Niagara on Saturday.
Thanks for that, Micah. Well, if you don't feel like going out to see a game, you might be able to play one in your own residence hall. A game room featuring Pac-Man, Dance Revolution, and air hockey will be opening in Commons very soon. The new room will be built because of an anonymous donation.
Only students who live in Commons will be able to access the room, which will also have foosball and a big screen TV. Residential Life told the Quinnipiac Chronicle they don't plan on opening rec rooms in any other residence halls, but they might change their mind depending on funding and popularity.
Well, that brings us to the end of our show for this week.
For Quinnipiac News anytime, follow us on Twitter at Q30 News and on Facebook as well. Join us again next week, same time, same place for the Q30 Newscast.
From all of us here at Q30 News, we'll see you next week.